say. In the Netherlands, they're famous all in the Netherlands. 7,000 students are on the technical university, about 3,000 staff, of which 900 are academic staff. This university has 1,200 projects, and the projects they have are not cost projects, but research projects. I'll come back to that later. In 2012, it was 140 million Swiss franc they earned with those projects, and they're still earning money with them. And the concept of earning money by a research project, I will explain later. Okay, better stand here. Let's follow the money. What is university? It's all driven by the money from funding parties. First one is the Dutch government. I think it's the same here in Swiss. You can maybe confirm that you get a lot of money for students, and depending on the number of students, you get money. So that's the basic funding you get as a university. But to do research, you need more. In the Netherlands, lots of money is coming from Europe. You have to apply a proposal to a certain committee, and then they come to decide if you get the money or not, or someone else will get it. The third part to get money is companies. For example, Philips, who is interested in a specific light or effects of specific material, they pay researchers to do research, and they have the first to know the results. So the difference here in the university, I had to, for me it was new as well, they earn money. So that do not cost money. You get a contract value, and someone, either from the EU or a business, is paying for it. Of course, you have some research obligations. You have to apply your proposals, you have to write some thesis, you have to make publications, but you need to work for it. That's the most important part. At present, or before the project, and they still do, they use Oracle projects to get the information. Does anyone of you know Oracle, the ERP system from Oracle, Oracle Financials? Or okay, are you also familiar with Oracle projects? Okay. Well, this is just the ERP system for projects, and which works perfectly well. What they do, they add in the contract value, the start date of the project, and the end date of the project. And typically, this is about 4 to 5 years. There's a project name, you have a state as a project leader, and there's also something called GS, which is the Dutch for geldstroom, which means the flow of funds. This is the third one, being it's a business-sponsored project. And what happened at all the faculties? Everyone took its own data using Oracle Discoverer, put it in Excel, and they manipulated, it's not the correct word, but they adjusted the data a little bit because they had more information from the professors, from the administration, which was not in the central system. So they amended the data a little bit and prepared the reports to the faculty director or to the dean. And the dean, for me, I didn't know what a dean was in Dutch, so maybe you don't know either, but a dean is the person responsible for a research area. So it's sometimes a part of a faculty. So you're a dean of a specific, for example, electrical engineering stuff, and then you're the dean of that part of research. But it gave confusion because you couldn't be sure about the past. And what I do here, I just plot the years of the project. The red line is where we're standing now, and the blue bars give, this is the number of money according to the GL, the general ledger, you have earned, quote unquote, because you have to apply also the other obligations. So you're not sure about the past, because sometimes at the faculty level there is additional information, which will eventually go into the general ledger, but not now. And the future, we have no idea. Okay, here you see the same picture, but now it's aggregated for the complete university. So all 1,200 projects added up. Then you will get a picture like this. This is, by the way, fictive data. So it's not the real data. Again, you're not so sure about the past. And especially about the future, you really don't know. Do we really use the contract value? Do we get everything which we put all our energy into get the proposal, and do we now put all the energy to get the money from it? Or do we miss potential revenue? And what about proposals? The new ones, so which we apply to the European Union. How do they affect our future revenue? We just don't know. And I think 14 months ago at the Technical University, I prepared this in Excel, and this is what I proposed. I said, well, if we look at the same project, and you just take the budget, put the budget for each month. Just calculate how much budget you can spend for each month. Or you not spend, but you can get for each month. Then plot against the actuals. So the blue one are the actuals. The green ones are still in the future. And now you can see something happening. Do you see what's happening here? If they do not fully utilize the budget, they have left something. And if you talk to the project leader or to the project controller, they say, yeah, of course, we know, because the researcher wasn't available at that time. We had to wait for 6 months. But the contract itself says, no, the deadline is finished. This is strict, you can't move. So what you could do, you could put more additional work in. Because if you don't, you lose the money. You don't get it. But the concept with it, this is your unused budget, and if you look at this one, you might put more researchers on it, or maybe a student, or someone who has graduated and wants to become a professor. You can put someone on it to help and to get the results.
It's money for 4 years, not per year.
No, it's for 4 years, yes.
Okay.
And if you sometimes have specific education parts, then it's for 3 years, but the university calculates the period to get your PhD is 4 years, so they do a little bit tweaking. But that's not in this project. Okay, this is the project. Now you see what can happen. This is very nice. You can aggregate this. You can sum this up. This is the same project. Now I add up all the projects for the cost center, 13007. And here you see some nice things happening. You see the red bars have disappeared, just the first one. Can you see that? Probably the other projects have spent more money than they should be. They should have. Also, something else is happening, the green bars. And the green bars, they represent proposals which haven't started, haven't been agreed, but they have a certain probability of getting accepted. And here you can see there is a color band with increasing probability that it happens. So you can just estimate, okay, this particular cost center, although in 2015 it's getting down, we might have a chance that it will be okay. See, so it gives you information on your continuity. If I just add this up to the cost to the faculty itself, then the faculty director can just see how are we doing so far. And the green line is the budget, based on the contract value for each month. You can see the blue bars, which is kind of ragged how they get their revenue. And then you see, well, it's not going so good for this faculty. You see, these projects proposals have a less probability to continue. So you see it's getting down. But this gives a lot of useful information for the faculty, because when we talked to the faculty director, they said, well, everything is going fine. We spent 50 hours per professor, so we're doing so great. And they're right. They were doing that here. Here you can see. They have work enough. But when you look at the future, then there will be a problem. So for them it was a wake-up call. Again, if you can even add this up to the university level. And this is interesting for the board of directors. And imagine a university to have all kind of faculties, and each faculty in itself is a kind of company. They feel that they are the kings because they earn the money, they get the proposals, and they are responsible for running the university. So it's a kind of federal model sitting there. And here at the board of directors, they got also a little bit nervous. Look at this green line. This is the official line. It's not so good. But when looking at the pipeline, you say, well, we must do a little bit better. But if these project proposals are accepted, then probably we're fine. Okay, this is what we proposed. Again, another way of looking at the same projects. Are you familiar with the Stefan View bullet chart on data visualization? No? Don't spend too much money. But here you can see the same project. This is the project budget, which you can spend. This line, the blue plus yellow, is indicating where you should be, given the time. And if there's a yellow bar in front of it, you're missing budget. And if there's a pink bar, you're over budgeting. You're spending too much budget. And here you can see that, for example, this project here is 3/4 of its way, but it's over budget compared to that it should be. These are absolute amounts. The length of the bar shows you the amount. And this is the percentage view. Now you can see the percentage. It's the same project, and now you can compare the projects. This is my step for you for the next picture. What we do is we make the project length equal 100%, and the project revenue amount, so the contract value, also 100%. What you can see, this is a very interesting picture. Here you can see all the projects plotted for a specific faculty or a cost center. The bullet is a project. The size of the bullet is the revenue amount or the contract value. And here you can see how you're doing. For example, this is the project I've shown so far. You see it's below. The green line is showing you the linear exploitation of your budget. And if it's below the line, there's more budget to gain. If you're above the line, then probably you've already have all the budget, but you have time left. And this particular graph was really attractive to the project administrators. Sometimes a project administrator or project controller has about 200, 300 projects, and they must manage the normal financial accounting for those projects. Usually they go through the complete list of all the 300 projects and tick them one by one. And now they can just focus on the project sitting here. 60%, and well, there are problems here. Probably we will lose money, but we have still time to put research on it. Here, again, they have to pay attention to those as well. So now you have an example of management by exception. Okay, this is what we propose. Oh, here, again, this is the project, 60% on its way in time, but only less than 40% of its budget. This is what you can gain, so which you have left, which you should have had by now. There's another project where it's too much budget consumption. Okay, this was our proposal. Now I'm going to icCube. In presenting this proposal just in Excel, they said, well, this sounds interesting. We like to see the dashboards, or we like to see the information in dashboards, but it must be connected to the database. So we don't want a demo or a proof of value with just a template version. For example, you have other tools in which they present nice Excel sheets and dashboards, and it works until you plug into the system. Well, it must be plugged into the system, Oracle ERP, the project module. It must work, must be connected, must be easy to use. In the end, the technical university must maintain it themselves. Of course, that cannot be realized in 5 days. And if this is successful, we want to discuss campus-wide use upfront. Because now we're using tools which are a bit more expensive. The tools they were using at the moment were Hyperion Planning, Hyperion S-Base, it's underneath the truck, and Microsoft BI. And the tool we needed needed to be agile. And agile, I mean not in a sense from an IT perspective, but agile from a business perspective. It must be able to do, just in a couple of days, present dashboards on which end users can respond, so you can close the cycle and do a couple of iterations only in 5 times. 5 days. This is from my colleague, the truck, and I don't know if you have the experience. I used to be, and I still do, I'm an Oracle Hyperion consultant, which I sometimes still love, but it brings you where you want on a paved way. It's a truck with a lot of lorries attached to it. So it's good, but if you want to go a way you've never been before, it will take you a lot of time to accomplish that. So icCube is just one piece, one server. If you compare, for example, SAP or Oracle, it consists of lots of tools which have been bought over time and which are very difficult to maintain from an infrastructural perspective. To be flexible and easy, and a low total cost of ownership. Well, the result is amazing. What happened in those 5 days? So we spent 2 days doing the ETL, doing the data integration, and at the 3rd day we presented the data in the dashboard. At that time there was a financial controller looking at it and a project controller. And it's amazing that you just saw the twinkling in their eye, saying, well, this is great, this is what we want. And what happened is we start improving those dashboards in the remaining days. And it ended in, yes, this is a project we want to do. Normally you see in BI projects that you should have a business case, but what is the business case for BI project? It's difficult. But now we have one. We said, oh, we want that. And if we buy upfront 1,000 users and licenses, then we already have the licensing part, which is most of the time expensive. And they bought them for less than 20k euro, so which is not expensive. We went live in 2 months, so we continued the period 1 day a week. There were 2 persons involved from the technical university, like me, from information management team. There was one from financial control, who was just verifying and validating the dashboards and the data. And there was a couple of 2 project controllers who just gave feedback, said, if this is possible, we want this and we want that. At present, we have had 3 iterations. Each iteration was 5 to 8 days, so they had to pay 5 to 8 days consultancy. And when I go back to the university, it's a great success. Yesterday I received an email, they presented it to 2 other technical universities in the Netherlands, and it seems that they want that too, so which is good for me. But, it shows that when you close the circle and let the business see that they are in control, they can manage the data, you're very successful.
Well, what makes it different than Microsoft or what makes it agile? And
that's a good question. But what it makes agile, an honest answer is you could do the same with Microsoft BI. But what happens when you introduce Microsoft BI is that there will be 5 consultancy firms. There will be, first we need, that's the IT paradigm, we need to have a data warehouse. And it's complex, and the end users and the business is not involved. But that's the cause most of the time of that's not so agile. Business benefits. Revenue optimization, already show it in the screens. You saw it. There's a future proposal are visible in the pipeline, and end users feel enabled. It's not that I say that they are enabled, they see, well, we are in control. And I will show you in the demo. I'm just looking at the time. How much time do I have?
There's a break after this.
Yeah, but I don't want to spend you, I think it's 15 minutes. Huh?
Yeah, you have now 15 minutes.
Okay, perfect. This is also said very often, one version of the truth, but it is. It's helping. Remember all those Excel sheets, everyone is interpreting it on its own. If you have one interpretation, it helps a lot. Other strange thing what happened is, in the beginning they said, well, Arthur, it's fine, it's a nice proposal, but we're not there yet. All our faculties have information on the table which we don't know of in a central system. I said, well, forget it, just start, and you will see what happens. And what happened is, because you close the loop, you close the circle, by end users seeing the effects of the data in the central system, the funny thing started, they said to their people, so the administrative people at the faculty say, well, I want that data also in the central system because I can see it in my dashboard. So what happened as a result is that the data quality got improved. They found some projects which were keyed into Oracle projects, but they didn't become a real project. But they had the status active, and no one bothered because no one saw it. Only one person, that was the person reporting to the board of directors, and he thought it was a real project. So we skipped those, but it was not material, so it was not so much money, but it's a thing we saw. So now there's a new status. If there's a project which just discontinues for a certain reason, it just gets status cancelled. Very simple solution, but they just didn't, there was no focus on it. IT evaluation. This was really strange. The DBA, who is maintaining the Oracle ERP and also Hyperion, not Microsoft BI, that's another part. And he says, I asked him, how much time do you spend in icCube? He said, well, 1 hour a month, maybe. It's running, he said, it's running. I don't have to stop and restart services all the time, it's just running. Information management, making the dashboards and doing the model. They still need me sometimes for new additional changes, but the business as usual, they can do it and manage themselves. What they like about, they have two environments, development and production, which is common sense. What you normally do when you go to development, from development to production, it will take you days of preparation by making scripts. Maybe you've done that before. With icCube, it's simple. It's just you download one XML and you put it in the next environment, and in 10 minutes you're migrated. It's amazing. It's never seen that before. Very low total cost of ownership because server maintenance. The administrator has it costs him no time. Well, you do need a server because it's an in-memory data server, so you need some memory, and well, you need my consultancy sometimes, but the licenses, it's nothing. It's so successful that they asked me to do icCube for human resources. So we're now building a human resource dashboard. They had before in MS Access, but the person got ill, and I said, well, let's use icCube for that. Also, we do financial reporting with Hyperion Planning, but only to 10 users because user licensing is so expensive. Why not do the same here? That's what's happening right now. Okay, now I want to show you the demo. If there's no urgent question right now. Two additional ones. Here you can see it's just a very simple visualization. It shows you, this is the wrong one. It just shows you your projects. Just a square is, the project is alive during this date, and here you can see they're ending here. I go to the bubble chart. This is a little bit too much because it's all the project for the university. I just take them from faculty 13. And here you can see, for example, if I click on this project, this is the total budget of 2 million almost. You can see this is how you spend it so far. You see, oh gosh, it started late. As you can see, it's no actual here, no blue. And here you can see, well, you have to put more work in it to get everything from it. So this is a project you need to pay attention to. You can also check on the invoices. Apparently 2 invoices have been sent, which is not so much. There are a huge amount of money, so 500k, so you're almost halfway. But here you can immediately see, okay, I have to talk to the project leader called Nicoline Hellenweg. She has to do her best more. So you can now manage by exception. And there are more dashboards, but this is what I wanted to show to you. You can see it's interactive, it's live, you can select a project, you see the information for a specific, particular project.